Hi, welcome to my channel Ruby Net Crochet Tejido. Today I'll be teaching you how to knit this beautiful sweater. Absolutely love it. It is with leftover yarn and a little more. I hope you guys like it and give it a try, and here is the listed material and the other video links that you're gonna need to make this beautiful sweater. If you are not already subscribed, please subscribe and click on the little bell. That way you get notification each time I upload a video. Remember, I make my videos in Spanish and English. If you receive a Spanish video and you want to see in English, go to the main page of my YouTube channel. You'll find the English version in there. Also, you can send me a message in that video and I can send you the link as well. I absolutely love it. Something that I wanted to mention, if you want this large size, I just wanted to mention that because my friend Maria, she asked me if this fit a large. I said, well, I can fit a large but a little bit tight because I'm a medium size. You see, I lost some weight. I don't know if you can see in the camera always make it look a little bit bigger, but I lost a little bit of weight. But I've been naughty. I've been eating bread with tomato and olive oil every day for lunch since I came back from Cuba. But well, that's the only thing I'm doing that is naughty. No eating desserts, and well, here and there I eat a cookie or so. But I try to keep, each time I do that I just exercise. So back to the sweater. If you want this a large, I recommend to increase the size of each square. Don't add an extra square because these don't gonna be in the center. Then you don't can make that nice square in the center like that. You see? So I recommend to do from 45 to 47 stitches for each square. Remember, if you increase a stitch in one square, you'll be increasing in every single one. So the same amount is that if you increase 4 stitches, you'll be increasing 16 stitches in total. 4 and 4, 8, and 8 and 8, 16. So remember that, keep that to account because you will have to do the same increase on each squares. If you want an extra large, you can do 51 stitches. That way on each square, that way it's nice and big. Or if you want an oversized sweater. And the same if you're making this smaller, you will decrease some stitches, let's say 39, 37 stitches, and the square will be a little bit smaller, and you can do a smaller size sweater. Now for the length, you see the length of mine is here that I absolutely love. But if you want this longer, you can do another row of a square, and that will be around here. That will look gorgeous. Or you can do the same that you did here with the accent color. You can cast down your stitches and do a border around the same width as this of one net row, because if you work on the round, you will do one net row and one purl, one net, one purl. Or you can do a cast on of multiple 4 and do this 2x2 rib in the border, but that will make more like this, the sweater. Okay, so keep that to account. And I'm planning to do one like this for Willie, but with 2 colors, with this green that he picked. He's dying for me to make him a green sweater, so I'll be making it with this and this color, but the square is a little bit smaller. Let me show you, I already did one of the squares to count the stitches, and it's like this. Absolutely gorgeous, the color combination. So I'll be making that for Willie, and I just wanted to mention that just in case. If you want to do extra large, you can do 51 stitches, but remember each, or 49, 51 stitches, because you'll be increasing the size of the squares. Something else that I wanted to mention, just something that like came boom. If you like, you can cast down your stitches with a straight needle or circular, but work with the open work from the seam here to the other seam and work back and forth net stitch. you know, knit on the right side, knit on the wrong side. That way it's the same stitch as this, but it will be an open work, and you can leave that a little bit open. It will be a nice open here in the side, but I recommend to do either the width of this border or the one that you did for the sleeve. That way it'll be nice and balanced, but it will look amazing as well. So you do the same for the front and the back, and it will look perfect. To make these squares for this sweater or for a cardigan, for a blanket, yeah. But this one is for a sweater. These are the yarn I'm gonna use. They are 100% acrylic, medium 4. They are all leftover yarn, different color. You're gonna choose whatever leftover yarn that you have, but you're gonna pick one color that will be in all the squares to make them nice and balanced. I picked this one. This will be in all the squares, and you're gonna need a crochet hook, whatever size crochet hook, the circular needle, but you can use a straight needle. I'm gonna use these ones are 5.5 millimeter. You're gonna need tapestry needle and scissor and a few markers. In the first video we made the first square, and the second one how to do the second one already attached to the first one, and then you continue with the strap until you have the width that you want for whatever piece you're making. And in the third video I show you how to do the second row. That was placing the first square and then the second one, and then I mentioned for you to continue doing that repetition until you have the desired length. If you want to make a sweater like me, or if you want to make a blanket, you just do a square until you have the desired size. For mine, and it's a sweater, I'm going to show you now how to finish. I'm going to show you first how to do this shape of this color. I already have the back. This is the front, this is the back. The back will be different, but first I have to show you how to do this. I will show you in this piece, and then I will frog it and then redo it again. And I'm gonna show you how to do this in here. And then after you have that, you can do the last square that is exactly the same as the other one. And for the back, what you do is just a square piece with this done until the end. You don't need to do the shape for the back. So for the shape of the color, you're gonna need 5 markers, because we're gonna do these 2 squares at the same time in order to give the shape of the front of the color like this. So I cast on 20 stitches, and then I did my 21. I placed a marker. I cast on 20 stitches, 21 in the center and 20 in the other side, and I place a marker in the center to divide my 41 stitches and my 41 stitches, and then 2 markers to mark the 3 stitches in this square and the other one in this one. So that's how I did that. So to start here, since we don't have any square in this side and we have to work on the right side of our piece always, we're gonna cast on our needle 20 stitches, and then we'll do 21 here in the corner, and then we're gonna do 20, place a marker, do 20, 21 in the corner, and 20 more in the other side. That will be our 41 and 41 stitches. For the color of the other piece, I used this ball of yarn. So what I did, I left the tail long enough for 20 stitches. I did a slip knot. And I place it in my needle. And I start casting on 20 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 18, 19, and 20. Doing that with the tail to secure the last stitch. And then you're gonna come here, and in the border of this one, in the corner here, I'm gonna pass number 21 right in the corner. Hold tight, and then now you're gonna continue casting on your stitches exactly the same as you did in the other one. You will do 20 until you get to this border. You will place the marker, and then 20 in here, 21 in the center, and 20 in the other side. So exactly the same as you did, but make sure that when you do these 20 that you have to do now, that you can't, that you have 41. You don't can be missing one stitch. You have to make sure that you have 41 for this square and 41 for the other one. Here I have my 41 stitches. Now I'm going to place this marker to mark the center of the two squares. And I'm going to come here. And I'm going to start casting on my other square. So I'm going to continue, and I will do my 20, 21 in the center, sorry, a little off camera, 21 in the center and the other 20 on the other side. So I know there are 82 stitches, and they have to be a number for the square, but remember it's two squares together, and we will work them as two separate squares. The only thing that they are together in the center, but you have the 41 of one square and the 41 for the other one. So like this, you're going to continue until you have your other 41 stitches, and then I will meet you here to show you how you're going to do a couple of rows of decrease, and from there you can continue until you have the desired size for the opening of your collar. Here I have my 41 and my 41 on the other side. So we're going to start with row 1 on the right side. It's a net row. And let me get my silicone tip. I'm going to knit 19. It's exactly the same as the other square. The only thing that you're doing 2 squares at a time. You're going to knit 19. You're going to place the marker. You're going to knit 3. You're going to place the marker. You're going to knit 19 and you're going to pass the marker that is marking the center. You will pass after those 19 and then you again 19, place the marker, knit 3 and place the marker and knit the rest, and that will be exactly the same as the other square. So continue knitting all the way. I finished that row, so now you're going to turn your work around and you're going to do exactly the same as you done in the other squares. You're going to knit until you get the first marker. You will remove the marker and then knit 3 together. Remove the next marker, knit 1 and place 1 marker and leave the other one aside. You're going to knit all your stitches. I like to keep that one just to remind me that I'm working 2 separate squares. And I will knit until I get to this marker. I will remove the marker, put it aside, knit 3 together, remove the marker, knit 1, place the marker back, knit the rest, and on the way back knit the stitches and place the other marker after you knit 3, and then knit, and then in here to place the marker you pass this one, knit 3, place the marker back again and continue, and you're gonna do the decrease exactly the same as you did the other square. I don't gonna show you how to do that because I already have shown you how to do the squares in 3 videos. It's exactly the same, but just the only thing they are together in the center, but the decrease are exactly the same. This is my piece for the back, so I had to remove this in order to do my 2 separate square because this one will go straight and the front it will be like this. So for the size of my opening for the head, I left here 13 stitches, the one in the center. I left 26 stitches, the one in the center, and 13. That means I have 27 in one side and 27 in the other side of this, right? Of the center, 27 for the square and 27 for the other. So I left the stitches like this. Put in this strand of yarn after I cut the yarn, because I'm gonna work the back, and then after I'm gonna pick all these stitches and some in the back and do a little bit of a color for my sweater. So go ahead, do this part, and then I will meet you here. I wanted to mention, if you don't want to leave this, you can finish this up, just casting off all the stitches, but for mine I'm gonna do a color. And once you finish this part, you will come here and you will cast on your 20 stitches, 21 in the center and 20 stitches in the border, and you will do the final square. That will be in this border of this, casting on 20, 21 in the center and 20 in the other side. So remember, you will decrease in the wrong side exactly the same. I'm repeating myself, but I like to explain things very well. In the wrong side you will decrease in the 2 corners of the 2 square, and in the right side you just knit your stitches and place your marker back. I decided to show a couple of times the decrease anyway, because I know I will have some beginners that will ask me to explain better the color, because I don't explain really well. I know this from past experience, that even if I repeat myself 20 times, sometimes some beginner need a little extra help. So you're gonna continue knitting all your stitches until you get to the first marker. I'm at the marker. I'm gonna remove that one. I'm gonna knit these 3 together. Remove the marker, knit 1, place the marker back, and now I'm gonna knit until I get to the corner of the other square. Okay, to this one, and here to this marker. Once you finish, it will look like this. Now you have to do exactly the same again. You will knit all the stitches until you get to the marker. Pass the marker, knit 3. Place the marker. Knit all the stitches until you get to this marker. If you want, you can remove this one, because this one was easier to have for just to count in the stitches. But if you want to leave it, go ahead. And then you pass the marker, knit 3, place the marker, and knit the rest. And the way back, again, you will do the decrease. And so on. Remember, I left 13 stitches in this side of this marker and 13 in this side, the one in the center, the one in the center, and 26 in between these ones in here. So once you finish, it will look like this, and then you will do the last square. You set aside, and then you start working in the next one. For this one, you have to do the entire thing without any opening for the color, and I want to explain you why. Or you can do it, but you have to do exactly the same as the front. Because if you do it with more stitches to make it higher in the back, you'll have these wider in here, you see, and then you'll have extra stitches in here. Don't gonna be even with this one. So for mine, what I'm gonna do is do a straight this. For example, let me do this here to show you. It will be like this side, because it will be like this. Like this, and the back is straight. But I'm debating if I will do the 2 square and here a solid squares, or I will do it with a little bit of color, because this one don't have any color in here, but I will have it when I do it the front top. So I'm debating that. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna finish this one in here. If I do a solid, you will see them solid, but if I do it like this one, you will see it like this one. So that depends my mood. So I'm gonna finish this one, and then we'll put our piece together. Once you finish the back, it will be like this, and under such a much stress, because somehow I deleted this part where I show you the back. You know that I like to show and explain everything. So where I show you the back, and when I show you when I sew them on the shoulder, and when I start casting on the stitches for the color. I don't know how I delete that, how I wasn't thinking. I record that part when the hurricane was going on Nova Scotia. My sister was there. I don't know if it was because I was in a stressful mode. I delete that. Sorry about that, but I will try to explain as much as I can this part, okay? But for the shoulder, you will even the front and back piece together, and you will sew them in here until you finish this part, because this is a completely square. So you will finish in here, and you sew that and lose your tail. And I will show you how to sew this under the arm, exactly what I did for this you will do on the shoulder, okay? Sorry about that. You will do the same in the other side. You will sew until here. You will have one of these with the tail loose, so you will keep the tail in the inside waiting. And you're gonna start casting on your stitches in the center of these 2 square in the back. Remember, you have 4, so in the center between these 2 center ones, you will start casting on your stitches. You will grab your crochet hook again, and the thread and the needles, and then you'll start from the center to the right, okay? So you'll start casting on all your stitches all the way around. I will show you already when I'm casting on in here. It's just that I misplaced those clips of sewing the shoulder and starting the casting on. The rest I have here. Sorry about that. You know that I like to explain every single detail of my work, and I feel, you know, like awful that I don't can explain that part as I did it. Sorry about that, but I will explain the best as I can, and you know how to do this. So the shoulder, even here, you have to make sure that it's even, and you see, even these 2 square, they are full square, they're even. You see, from color to color, the color change, and then in here you will do this little piece. When you finish sewing, you guide yourself by the one on the front, you finish there, and then you do the same on the other side. And for my color, you have to have a multiple of 4, so I did 80 stitches. I have my 80 stitches, and this one and this side were a little loose, so I pulled them to this tail to make them a little bit tighter. And then now with the two ends, I'm gonna do a double knot to close that gap. And I'm ready to work, and this is the working yarn in this side. Once you finish securing the two ends, you'll place a marker, and you're gonna start with 2 net and 2 purls. Two net stitch and 2 purls. And like that, you will continue working all the way until the end. You start with 2 net and you'll finish with 2 purls. So you're going to continue 2 purl, 2 net, and I have to put the silicone tip of my finger because from pushing, you see, my finger getting a little bit of a bubble. I'm going to continue working until I finish with my last 2 purls. I finished the first round. You're gonna have a little bit of a gap in here, but when you do this round, you will close that gap. So after you pass the marker, you're gonna come here and you're gonna net. You see, when you net that stitch, you close that gap, and you net the next one, and then 2 purl. And that's what you're gonna do until you have the desired length for your color. I'm not gonna count my rounds. I'm gonna guide myself by measurement or by eyeballing it, because I'm not exactly sure how long I want this to be. So I will measure here when I have my length, and I will measure for you. I'm not gonna count the rounds. Remember, you just, if you want to count yours, go ahead. But since I don't have to duplicate this part, I just work and work. 2 net 2 purl, 2 net 2 purl. So I'll measure here when I'm done my length of the color. This is what I did in order to try the color. I passed this yarn through some of the stitches in order to give more space to pass it through my head, because the cable is a short cable, and if I don't do this, the stitches will fall off and I will lose all those stitches. So I place them in this piece of yarn, I tried it on, it's the perfect length for me, and a measure. Let me give you the measurements now that it is here. It measures 1.5 inches, and that is 4 centimeters. That's the length of the color for my sweater. Now I'm gonna place the stitches back and here, just pass it through and pull these, and I will show you how I'm gonna cast off or bind off the stitches. I'm gonna remove the marker and I'm gonna cast off my stitches. I already placed them back in the needle, so we're gonna work them as we see them. I'm gonna knit one and I'm gonna knit the next one, and the first knit I'm gonna pass it over the second one and cast it off. Now the next one is a purl. You're gonna purl that stitch and you're gonna pass that one over the purl. Purl the next, and the one in the back of that one, you're gonna pass it over and cast it off. Yarn to the back, knit the next one, and this one in the back, pass it over. And you see, you start to see the cast off stitches. The next one is a knit, so you're gonna knit and cast it off. Now it's a purl. You're gonna purl that stitch and you're gonna pass the one in the back over and cast it off. And so the next one is a purl and you're gonna cast it over. And like that, you're gonna continue all the way until the end and start to look like this. Remember, when you are casting off your stitches, not to pull too tight. You have to leave them nice and loose, otherwise you don't gonna have any elasticity in your rib stitch and the border. So I leave them nice and loose. And then you're gonna continue all the way until the end. And you want this to have a stretch to it. When you finish, it will be uneven like this. So now with the tapestry needle, we're gonna lose the tail and even this up. The color will look like this. I absolutely love this in the front like this, and in the back it's like this. I finished my first sleeve, and as you see in my short video, you can tell that I'm ecstatic about it. I absolutely love it. I cast on 68 stitches. I didn't count my rows. I count the cores that you see that they are created as you knit all the rows. This cord that you see is like a little line, so I count 15. After those 15, I decided to do some decreases because it was a little bit too wide to continue straight, so I decreased 8 stitches. I end up with 60. I work those 60 straight until I have the desired length. Once I had the length with this color, I decreased 20 stitches, and with those 40 I did this 2x2 rib. So the sleeve is not too long, it's just around here. It's much easier to do things with the sweater. You don't have to be pulling them back. So it's very easy, very straightforward, and let's start. This is the shoulder seam. I mentioned, I think before in the video, that I was going to work in 18 centimeters, but I realized that 18 centimeters is too narrow for a sweater or cardigan, so that will be more for a summer piece, because with this you need to wear something underneath. So I did 20 centimeters, and 20 centimeters for me is past this line of green, the first cord that you see with the green. That's what I did here in the back, and the back piece, because it's where it's the same. You see, past the first one at the pink is where is the sleeve. So that's 20 centimeters there. So I'm gonna start past that. So I have my 68 stitches, so I'll do 34 until the shoulder and 34 past the shoulder. So I'm gonna come here with my hook, and you're gonna cast them exactly the same as you did for the squares. And you have to work on the right side again, so you have to start from left to right in order to have the yarn in the right side to do the first row. So I'll cast on my first stitch. And make sure that you work with the working yarn, not with the tail, like I almost did. So like this, you're gonna continue casting on your stitches exactly the same as you did for the squares when you change color or start a new square. Change color, yeah, change color for the new square. So like this, I will do 34 until this side of this shoulder and 34 past the other side. So that will be my 64 stitches. This sweater is a size medium to a large, and that's the size of the sleeve. So if you are doing this bigger, for an extra large, you will cast on more stitches. Make sure that you have even number. You can do 35 if you like, that will be 70 stitches, but I recommend to do 36 in one side and 36 in the other. That'll give you 72 stitches that way, or 74 stitches if you want. That way, when it's time to decrease at the end, you will have even number here. You have to be multiple of 4 for the border as the sleeve. So you can do this size, this sweater any size that you like. This as a long sweater or cardigan will look amazing. So my tongue is a little tight today, sorry. It's early in the morning. I'm going to continue working in the casting on of the sleeve, and I will meet you here. So my tongue is a little bit tight. I'm rambling around because it's a little early in the morning. I was very excited about working in this second sleeve to see the final result. So I absolutely love this beautiful sweater. The cold weather is already here. It's 10.7 outside. Yesterday was 20. I went for a long hike yesterday, 8 kilometers and a bit. So it's a gorgeous, gorgeous fall. Today it will be again like 20, but at night time it get a little bit cooler. So it's sweater season. So that's why I'm so excited to finish this one. So I wanted to show you in this border, you see you have these like that. It's a little bit different because this is the part where you need the border of the side of the square. So for the other sleeve, I went inside that second looking net, and that's where I did the casting on, and you'll have this border in the inside of the sweater. So if this happened to you, I'm going to show you how you can fix it. I missed one of the stitches. I only had 33, and I thought that what happened, I supposed to have 34, and was that here one of the space is empty. You see, it's this one. So you can tell by the length of the strand in the back. So I will fix that. I will cast that stitch as I work the first row. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lose some of the stitches. That way I make this more loose in order to have enough space to cast on that stitch when I get to that point. Okay, so and instead of losing the stitch from this where I have the working yarn to this point, it's too many stitches. I have less stitches from this side. I'm glad I left a tail long enough to do that. So I'll lose those stitches, make these a little bit longer, and I will be casting on 1 stitches when I get to that point. That's why I recommend to leave a little extra tail. Now for the other side, I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna start casting on the stitches. And let me show you. This will be the border that go in the inside. I don't pull out stitches in every single one side by side because it will be too many to gather up together. So if you look at your work like this, you have this stitch that is more out and this one in the inside. One out, one in. So I'm going to pass my hook through those that are more out, leaving that one in between. See? So the next one, you see, I have this one is in the other side, this one is the next, and the next one is this one, but I go to that one, you see, and that's what I did for the other one as well, because if you pull in every with only one strand in between, they will be too close together, plus it will be it will pull your stitches. They're gonna look right. You have to have a little bit of the separation in between the stitches. So like that, I'm gonna cast on my 34 stitches. I have my 67 stitches because remember I have one more to cast on when I get to that point. So I'm gonna start my first row. And I'm gonna knit all the stitches until I get to that point where I have to grab that stitch. So it's good that this happened. That way, if this happened to you and this work or any work that where you had to grab one stitch, I will show you on this one. So things happen for a reason. So I will knit until I get to that point. I'm at that point where I had to grab that stitch. So this one is a little bit loose because it's the one that I have that extra space in the back. So in that stitch that I miss, I'm gonna grab the yarn, I'm gonna bring it to the front, place it in my left hand needle, and I'm ready to continue with my work. As easy as that. There. I finished that first row. I'm gonna turn my work around, and the first stitch is loose because you see this one is not tight or anything. is a loose strand, so that will be loose until you lose that tail, until you secure that tail. So you're gonna knit all your stitches again until the end. I finished the second row, and you can see the cord that is made, because it's a garter stitch, the first little cord that you see. So I had to do 14 more. That means I had to do 28 more rows to have in total 15 of these cord. If you would like, you can work all your stitches straight with no decrease until you have the desired length before you do the little cuff at the end. Or you can start doing the decrease now, that way you don't get this. And here I found that it look a little bit strange all the way here, but don't look bad. That go under the arm. If you like, you can start the few decreases in here and then you work straight. So for the decrease, you can do the 2 first stitch, knit them together, and the 2 last ones, and then you do 1 row in the wrong side, 1 row in the right side, 1 row in the wrong side, and then you do the decrease again, and like that you'll continue until you decrease all the stitches that you want. For mine it will be 8 stitches, that means 4 rows of decrease, but in order to have it the same as this one, I have to have those 15 cord or 30 rows. So I will work, I will knit, and I will watch some YouTube, and what I do those other 28 more rows. I will have to put this in my finger because I tend to push and that hurt. So I will meet you here when I have my 15 done, and you see, that's the first one. I have my 15, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 is the one here in the needle, like this. So now we're gonna do 2 decrease, so 2 together at the beginning and 2 together at the end. This row, and we're working on the right side, so I'm gonna knit these 2 together, and then I will continue knitting all the stitches until I get to the end, and I will do the last 2 together. I finished that row of decrease, so now I have to work this row with no decrease, and I will do 3 rows like that with no decrease. 1 in the wrong side, 1 in the right side, and 1 in the wrong side, and then when I have to work again in the right side, I will do the decrease exactly like this. 2 together at the beginning and 2 together at the end. And like that, we'll continue with the repetition, 3 rows in between decrease, until I have only 60 stitches. That will be 4 rows of decrease. So once I have my 60 stitches, I will work until I have 49 of these cord. In Spanish we call them cordón, and then I translate it to English as cord, or this line, 49 of them, and then after that I will decrease until I have 40 stitches. I'm gonna measure these. I'm gonna give you the measurements as well. That is, you wanted the same length of mine. Mine is 33, exactly 33 centimeter, this part, and that is 13 inches for the length of this color. And you see these are the color, each one of those. Okay, so I will continue working my decrease exactly the same. Remember, in between each row a decrease, you will do 3 rows without decrease. If you're doing exactly like me, you can do them different. You can do 1 row with decrease, 1 without, 1 with, you know, closer to each other, don't matter, as long as you decrease some stitches if you want. Something that I forgot to mention, when you finish the last row of decrease, if you are decreasing like me, you'll have 24 of these line or cord, okay? 24, and then from 24 to 49 you'll continue netting straight. So I wanted to explain a little bit more. I did remember that row of decrease, I did 1 row of net in the wrong side, and now I'm working the row of net in the right side. I'll come back with the net in the wrong side, and then next time I work on the right side again, I will do the decrease. I like to explain all this a little extra just in case you need a little bit more. You can make my piece with no problem. Now I have to do the row decrease, so I'll do these 2 together. I will net until the last 2, then I will do them together. And again, I will do those repetitions 2 more times, and that will be the decrease of 8 stitches, because in each decrease row you decrease 2, so 4 decrease row, 8 stitches, and then I'll end up with my 60 stitches to net until I have 49 of those cord, or 13 inches. I finished the decreases, and you see from here, and that's why the angle. So that's why I mentioned, if you would like to do the decrease from the beginning, you can do that, do the decrease and then continue straight until you have the length. I have to do the decrease in here because I already have worked 30 rows, and I wasn't going to frog all those rows just to do those decrease for under the arm. So I did that, and I tried on the other sleeve and it looked fine. It looked like this in here because the cable, but I'm gonna continue working straight until I have my 49 core or rows of these lines, and I will meet you here when it's time to do the decrease, to change color and do the end, the cuff. And remember, when you're working the first sleeve, if you do any changes of that in mind, remember to keep note. That way, what you do in the first sleeve, you will do in the second one. I have my 49 cord, and I finish in the wrong side. I have to work on the wrong side now to do the decrease. So when you finish the number 49 is this one, and the tail is in this side. So let me turn my work around, and you see this is the wrong side. So you have to work the decrease in the wrong side, because when you work on the right side, you're gonna work with this color, and you have to change color in the right side. So we have 60 stitches, or I have 60 stitches. I want to decrease 20, so I'm gonna knit 1 and then the next 2 together, and that's the decrease that we're gonna do all the way through. Knit 1, knit 2 together, 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 1 and 2, and like that you're going to continue all the way until the end, and you will finish with this color. I finished that row, and I count my stitches, and I have my 40 stitches. So now we're going to change color, and you're going to change color by doing a net row. That way it's nice and even and a nice finish to this color change. You don't get pearl with one color and with another color. So it's a better way to finish this. And you can cut the other color, the one that you finish with, this one, leaving a tail long enough to lose. So you're gonna knit all your stitches, and on the way back we're gonna start our 2x2 rib, and it will be like this. You see the border of your sleeve. It looks nice and neat. Before we start with the work with this color, in the video I said 9 row and number 10 cast off, but I didn't realize that for mine I did 11 row and number 12 I cast off, because I don't check really well my notes, sorry about that, but they are, and instead of 9 do 11 and then number 12 you cast off if you want the same width as mine. Mine is almost 2.5 inches, 6 centimeters and a bit. I finished that row. We're gonna start with the 2x2 rib, but first I'm gonna tie a knot in here in between these two strands. And what you're gonna do is, with this color you're gonna go over the lighter color, that way you don't get the light color underneath here. So I secure that, and I'm gonna start with 2 net 2 purl rib. I already put my little silicone tip, because you see I tend to push the tip on my needle and that really hurt my finger. So like that, I'm gonna work 9 row back and forth, and in number 10, that will be in the right side, I will cast off my stitches. And I'm gonna give you the measurements on my other one, that way you know the length that I'm working. Like this. So I measure almost not 2.5 inch, that's 6.5 centimeters. So I'm gonna work the 2x2 rib until the end. I show you one more time, and from there you can continue until you have the desired length. I have my 11 rows, and I'm sorry that I said 9 when really they're 11. So I'm glad I realized that. So I'm gonna knit my first stitch, my second stitch, and the first one I'm gonna cast it over that one, like so. Yarn to the front, you purl that stitch, nice and loose, all your stitches, that way you have a nice elasticity in the border of your cuff. So you're gonna knit the nets and purl the purls. So you knit this one, pass this one over, cast it off, knit the next one, over and cast it off. Now purl again, purl the stitch, always the one in the back, pass it over and cast it off, purl and pass it over. And like that you're gonna continue until the end, and you're gonna cut a strand long enough to sew that part at this color. Now on the inside you're gonna secure this tail and lose this tail and the other two that you have in here from when you finish with this color and you start with the next one. After that you're gonna grab a strand of this color and you're gonna sew in here, and if you look at your border they are like purl stitch in this side and the same in the other side, and those are the one that you're gonna match straight up. You see all those lines, you're gonna match them one with another, and you will go to work all the way until, and here you're gonna lose those two tails, this one and the one that you will sew in with, and then you're gonna grab a strand of this color and you're gonna sew together these two sides. That's what I did for my other sleeve. So it's exactly the same as I did in here. You see, you don't see that seam. So I will show you in a few stitches, and from there you can continue working. Close this side and work exactly the same the other sleeve, do the sewing underneath, and you're done your sweater. So I finished under the arm. Now I'm gonna work the side. So for the side, if you look at this is the border where you cast on your stitches at the border of the square. After you do this, you cast on this as you did with the needle. So when we work these stitches, you see I cast on the stitches for the sleeve closer to the border. That way you don't see this in this space. We grab the stitches like this. So like that is how we're gonna sew this exactly the same in the border of this and in that one to hide that inside. That's what I did for the other side, and I did with this color yarn. Here's under the arm. This is the seam, you see? And I only see the lighter color in here a little bit in between these two because this is a dark color in this one. So you only see those two stitches. It's the only two stitches that you see with that color there. And I realized that after. So when you're sewing this, you go in the border of this square and grabbing those two like this. And you have to make sure that when you work this, you see this seam has to be together and the seam of these two square, you see, even. That way when you sew this to the end, it will be even. But you're gonna sew exactly the same as I show you in here. I'm gonna finish that and I will show you the end result. Well, this is the end result, and I absolutely love this sweater. It looks amazing. I love the fit, I love the length, I love everything about it. I love the length of the sleeve. I like my sleeve that length because if I'm wearing the sweater, I'm doing something, I don't have to be pulling my sleeve out because they are too long. That's up to you, the length that you want for the sleeve. That is my favorite length. And it looks amazing. I love the way it looks here with combination with the sleeve. It looks like you have a sweater under this, like this is a vest in the front. It looks amazing. Now, if you are a little bit in the bigger size, I recommend to do another row of a square. If you like a little bit longer, look at the length of mine is just right here. You see this part? So I recommend you to do one of the square, especially the front. You measure the shoulder and you will see the length. If you want it longer, you can do after a row of a square in the front, and then the same for the back. But look amazing. I absolutely love the way this looks. And very warm and absolutely gorgeous. And I hope you guys like it and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are not already a subscriber. And if you make this beautiful sweater and you want to send me some picture, you can do it through my Facebook page, Ruby Crochet Tejido, or my Instagram, Ruby Crochet Tejido. Please share my video with friends and family. That way you help me grow here on YouTube. I wish you have a beautiful day. Bye.